Trying to close out our spraying season with completing a few contracts. Turns out my neighbor's actually going to need some help. So we'll do our best to head south and lend a helping hand. It has been far too long since our last check-in with the old school. I got a handful of things from the garden I want to take to that farmer's market to see if we can catch a little bit extra money. But the job we'd have to do that makes us head south is our neighbor's tractor took a dump. I don't know to the extent what happened yet, but they need another tractor to run the baler since the ones that they have, they can't justify taking the tractor off what's on the implement currently and keep it on the baler. That's all I know right now. Ah, shoot, I left the door open. As for the equipment, nothing has changed. However, we did move our liquid fertilizer tanks up into the loft where the pig food mixer is. This was bought for a little over $4,000 about 3 weeks ago. It is a feeder trailer, and once we start pulling more pig food out of that, it will go into this trailer, which we can haul it from here down to the pigs and back. And we also invested in that pallet storage underneath this loft. I mean, it's such a perfect place to put it. There's all of our garden stuff, and then there's some bale twine in the back right corner. Fuel tank's looking a little rusty, but we had a major problem happen about a week and a half ago. I got into this save, and I guess since the brand new game patch, or an update of some sorts, like 58% of the things in this save game had either reverted to its original thing or it was just completely missing. I didn't have my Oliver, the Moline, the shed was white, I didn't have my truck, even the pigs were gone. I kind of had to rebuild everything to as close as I remember it being, and if I don't have everything right, then I guess we'll just kind of have to deal with it. That contract for Katie is just south of our buddy Marcus, the guy we bought the New Holland from, and that should not take too long, so I'm going to try and knock that out before we head down to our other neighbors to go help out with the baling. If you really miss or have really been enjoying the old school series and you want to show some support for the video, you gotta let me know by heading down below, consider hitting that like button, maybe even subscribing. I probably could have taken that way that routes through the one farmyard, but I'm just gonna take the highway, I guess. Little late on spraying, but it's a contract nonetheless. All of my crop work should be done for this cycle, and I'm hoping to get into the harvest time either next episode or the one following that. I really wish I could get more done on some of these series. I just sometimes get lost on what to do for video ideas. So if you have a reasonable idea on how we could keep this series getting more and more videos out, be sure to leave one of those ideas in the comments. But try and be specific. Put your heart into it. I don't know if it's just me, but does this shot specifically remind anybody of like FS17? The all texture looking dash, the way the lighting looks, it just kind of reminds me of FS17. It's also nice to be getting more than 30 frames per second. I love bucked up farming, don't get me wrong, but that frame rate sometimes just makes me go crazy. That'll finish out our work with Katie. Thank you. Let's get our butts back to the farm so we can go help out the neighbors. If you can remember way back to, I believe, the second episode on the series, this was the neighbor that I bought that old square baler from. I don't blame them that it didn't work. It was a super, and I mean super cheap, junk box that I don't think was going to work whether we wanted it to or not. But these guys run a beef cattle operation. It looks like they are getting ready for spraying as well. At least I'm not the only one. Morning, gents. So what's the spiel?
Well, our 6300 seems to have blown its engine. We had it in the shop to put a tune on to increase its power output, but it seems like something wasn't done right. We had the tractor at higher idle last night, and the boost gauge was reading way higher than normal, and poof. Smoke everywhere, with fluids coming out the bottom.
Well, who did you have do the tuning?
Our buddy Ricky. He's done work on our combine before, but we never had a problem with it.
Okay, I guess that makes sense. But what tractor can't you pull off?
Our 4010, it's our feeder wagon tractor. If we take that off and put it on the baler, we won't have anything to feed the cattle with, because the 8000 still has acres to spray for a few weeks.
Okay, that makes sense. So a chip tune was done, wasn't done right, turbo spool too big, engine go boom. Not fun. So then what are you gonna do? Because you can't use this to load.
I have an old 158 loader stuffed by the fence line next to the hay shed that fits the 4010. If the hydraulic lines are still good plus your tractor running the baler, we might have the manpower to knock this hay cycle out while the 63 is getting worked on. Hay can be loaded in an afternoon. The tractor on the baler would need to stay for a few weeks while we cut the pastures.
All right, well, that's not a half bad idea. I guess let's go take a look. There should be a loader somewhere along this fence line. And a tractor disc. There it is. That's in pretty decent shape for just sitting outside. If I didn't have anything else going on, I'd let you borrow the Oliver, but even then it doesn't have a front loader on it. It's pointless.
Oh, that's all right. Letting us borrow it for the baler is good enough.
All right, well, you guys get yourself set up to spray. What do you need me to do then?
Go ahead and get the Oliver hooked to our hay bine. Then head to the back 40 and start cutting. Ronald's going to be out spraying, but I won't be that far behind once I drop the tender off with the semi.
All right. Of course the mower's buried in the back. Dang it. Looks like Ronald is off to the races. I feel bad. I didn't really introduce them. That is Ronald and Wyatt. We need to get the 4010 out of the way and then scooch the baler out. Might even need to move the service truck. I don't think it'll hurt if we leave the doors open. Ooh, I don't think I've seen their combine before. Now, what is that monstrosity? Monster. 8820. That thing is a beast. 20-foot bean header and a 6-row corn header. Not bad. We haven't really discussed on what our payment would be for doing all of this, but I'm in some serious need of grain for the pigs, so maybe if they got any grain left on the farm, I can take some of that, and then we can work out a finance or a borrowing deal later. And there goes Wyatt. Ah, shoot, you know what I could do? That way we don't have to take the 4010 off of the wagon at all. We could just use my 620 as the rake tractor. I think I have him on the walkie. Hey, Wyatt, you there?
Yeah.
To save ourselves some time on getting that 4010 off the wagon, why don't we just we run back to my place and grab the 620 and we'll get that hooked up to the rake.
No, you don't have to do that, but it definitely would be handy. Are you sure?
Yeah, absolutely. No need to reinvent the wheel on it.
All right, I'll swing by on my way back. Thanks again.
Yep, we'll see you in a bit. Went ahead and moved those back into place. I don't know why those shifted over. Last time I operated one of these, it was on the original sandbox old school. Pretty sure this is their silage corn plot, so come harvest time, if these guys are going to need an extra hand, I'd be more than willing to help them out. And I believe these are Walter's beans. That would be the big farm directly in my right-hand window. Yet we are heading to the back 40. How far back is the back 40? There it is. Can I see my own farm from here? No, I cannot. Let's go ahead and unfold this. And can I do it from my joystick? It does not. That sucks. Our crimper looks good. Let's get some cutting in. According to that yield monitor, it is looking like a fantastic cut. This is just brome grass. This is not alfalfa. The old farm ground I sold to get the OBS Ford and the plot directly down the hill, those two patches are both alfalfa. I feel like this patch is going to be somewhat like the hay farm where we're going to have to cut it all before it will register on the map as a sort of grass plot. Whenever I do field work with the Oliver, it's kind of a pain in the butt because it has a wider stance than a row crop tractor. But if I'm running a baler, it's essentially perfect because it has a wide stance. We got a lot of trees down on this end. Try and cut around them. And we are coming up on loop number 1. I think my tactic for how I'm going to mow this, since it looks like a macaroni noodle, is I'll just kind of start going back and forth until I run out of room up top or in this flat spot, and then we'll just go up, down, left, right, left, right. They didn't specify how they wanted it cut, they just said, go and cut it. Something that is currently piquing my curiosity, the Vermeer rake down by the harvester silo kind of has the same description as the Farm King, which would mean that it both windrows and TEDs at the same time. Don't mind me turning that sharp. I usually do it all in one fluid motion. But I also found out I can see my farm. I just had to, move the camera up to look over the hill. There's a very good chance the top of that macaroni is going to pretty much take up the whole north end, meaning the north-south passes are just going to be this back half. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels good to be doing hay work again. I'll be 100% honest, I really don't like the new hay farm series that I put together. The map by MRG is great, but I just do not care for the setup of how I did that. So at some point, Bucked Up Hay will come back, but it might be coming back as a joint series with something else. But I think you guys would like to at least know where and what happened to it, and that it's not completely gone, it's just there's a reason I don't post on it. Now, if I were to cut this plot again, the only thing that I would do different, and I should have done it from the get-go, is do 4 headlands. It's not enough room to turn around, and that would have taken care of this entire little blip. So duly noted, if I am to do this for them again, 4 headlands, not 2. Oh, come on. Dang it. Just about got all of it in one fell swoop. That'll be fine. That should be all the grass that I'm gonna mow. Let's check the PDA to make sure that the grass has yes. It is now showed up. Does it look like a field? Also yes. That's part of the problem is, oh yes, you have this plot right here, but it never shows on the PDA, so I couldn't register it as a grass plot. But now I should be able to send Wyatt up and get started on the raking. The only thing I do not like, you cannot tell an AI to do this. I guess you technically could, but the AI is never going to do it like this. He's going to come across and make some random weird looking rows. And when I come back in with the baler, the runs are going to look nothing like this. It just is what it is. But I got a baler to hook up, and raking needs to be done. But before we get him started, I do want to see if it acts as a windrow or if it does indeed act like a tedder. Because it's listed under windrows, but its description reads as a tedder. Holy cow, it does. That is amazing. What on earth are those lines? What if I do the headlands and then he does the side to sides? That would probably work better. And we'll rotate this to 145 degrees. That way our lines stay nice and long, but it does not really screw up the headland passes. Man, you could almost get 3 in with this. This rake is huge. My heart wants me to bale a 180, but these guys bale 150s because they have a gooseneck trailer back by the harvester silo that can only hold those, but it dumps it off on both sides. 180s can technically fit, but it doesn't fit as well. Plus, if we're going to be picking up full-size round bales, a 4010 might struggle a bit with that weight. All right, Wyatt, have yourself some fun. Oh, that hurts to watch him do that. It was so pretty. This tractor's seriously going to need some anti-clean. The windshield's horrible. Heck, I'll even use a garden hose.
A few moments later.
Oh, you didn't think I was serious? No, I'm getting this tractor cleaned off. Plus, you can't put a dirty tractor on a clean baler. It just looks bad. Set it at 150. Make sure we got our bale twine, which we do. Turn on our automatic drop. Of course, you cannot see it, but I have a tiny little bale counter that sits on top of my radio. That's what we're going to have to use to count how many come out the back. I don't have the fancy monitors that go with one of these. However, I think we need to get a little bit of drone action, so let's cue in the music. 3,800 the buck, coming your way with a little bit of raking hay. Watch. But we should be good to do our outskirts. I have yet to use this deer baler yet. I have high hopes. I've been far enough out of the hay game that I have no idea what even a guesstimate on this is going to be. As we're already at 2, that probably means we're going to be somewhere in the mid-30s. Also, why is the net dropping that fast? That should not be dropping that fast. Why is the net dropping at like Mach speed? Whoa, watch out, Wyatt. Hey! Quit taking my stuff. Yeah, that's going to need to be addressed. I wonder if Ronald is in radio range or not. Hey, Ronald, you got a copy over there?
Just filling up at the tender trailer. What you need?
Do you have an idea on what you want to do as a, say, transaction between us on this?
I didn't have anything in particular. I figured we would just throw some money your way. Do you have an idea?
Well, here's my pitch. What do you have in that bin site that's right next to the cattle barn?
That's some corn from last year.
Well, I got a bunch of hungry hogs at the house. Would you be willing to part with, say, 2 gravity wagons full? And if I, say, need help sometime during harvest or whenever, I can give you a call.
I don't see a problem with that.
Sounds like a plan. I will, we'll take care of that, though, once we're done. The only thing that sucks is I do not have a grain bin at my own farm. So when I say 2 gravity wagons, that means I'm going to have to find a way to store the second one. Well, I know that thing doesn't have a comm link, but I suppose Wyatt is heading back to maybe set up the auger to prep for the gravity wagon? I don't know. He's cutting through his chaff corn, but yeah. I still feel like the round net is going down significantly faster than it should. But I think it just kind of bugged that first one, and now it's playing through that it's on the last roll. Last big stretch, and we are up to 20. Other than those few little humps on the far right, this should be just straight long passes. Maybe I'm not as far removed from the hay game as I think I am. That's 38. And I believe we will call it at that. We could probably make a 39th bale out of the scraps all put together, but I am not gonna be the one that goes out to rake that. Yep, it looks like they're ready to go. Oh, that trailer. Wow. That's sophisticated. I don't know where he wants me to put this, so I'm just gonna kind of back it into this door. That is a big hay trailer. I think that's Ronald's, and that's Wyatt's. But that is a good looking setup. And that is a jerry-rigged looking bale spike. The bales aren't gonna load themselves, and neither are the cows gonna get fed. Let's get this show on the road. This thing honestly gets up and moves pretty nice. But if my math serves me correct, we can get 10 bales on the trailer behind me. I have no idea how many can get on the other big one. I don't think we're going to get this all in one trip, but I could be wrong. Go ahead and set this thing somewhere in the middle. Looks like Wyatt threw at least 2 more weights in each wheel. I don't know if that means I can pick up 2 bales, but we're going to try it. If it was silage or grass, absolutely not. But because it's hay, we might stand a chance. We can at least do 1. What about 2? Ooh, it's heavy. I can definitely feel it, but it is possible. Not recommended, but possible. I think we'll just stick to 1. It ain't worth breaking the only tractor that we have that can lift these things. My Bobcat can maybe do it, but I ain't willing to test that. The 158 is really nice if you're trying to get a height clearance for a bale, but it sticks out in front of the tractor so dang far that when you think you're getting close to the bale, you're already halfway through it. We have 8 currently on. If you didn't have all of that stuff on the back, we could technically strap at least 2 to the bed. The other trailer does have an auto-load feature. I am curious as to see how that will work. So let's grab the other Dodge, and we'll see how fast that one fills up. Uh-oh. The auto-loading doesn't even work. What? I'm not gonna lie, how is that even possible? That says that it is made for 125 to 150 of round bales. If my knowledge serves me correct, that is a 150 round bale of hay. Why is that not working? Well, at least have straps, so I guess we're loading this thing manually. It might be slightly overloaded, just a little, but there is a decent chunk of bales on that trailer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There is 16 round bales on this. There's probably guys that run a set on top of these as well. We need to get these back down to the hay loft, so that way the cows can get fed and I can collect my payment. Get it lined up. Yeah! And because I know I'm going to have to manually unload the other trailer, we will do this one again to grab the rest. Had to do a little bit of bale hunting, but we ended up finding all 38. We're just going to hold off on unloading these things right now because a few of them are going to go into the mixing wagon. I'm going to run back with the Oliver so I can bring back the gravity wagon. It just feels good and weird at the same time to be doing hay work again. I know I could pull that gravity wagon with the Oliver, but I'm going to do it with the Moline. We haven't gotten to use it yet today. Plus, pulling up the hills, it's going to be a little bit easier with this thing. You guys don't mind if I just technically hold the second one here until I can get rid of the corn, right?
That should be fine. Not like it's going anywhere.
I really should be able to come back and get it later today. We'll just see how much the pig hoppers hold. Appreciate working with you, bud. Make sure to call me anytime you need some help.
Hey, that's what communities are for. I gotta head west this afternoon, so if I don't see you again, have a good one.
Dang it, that's right. Ronald said he needed that tractor to stay on the baler. If I'm going to have to head that way anyway, we'll get the pigs fed, and then we're going to take that load in to the farmer's market. Come and get it, piggies. Watch out, don't get squished. Let's see, how are the piggies doing? We haven't checked on them for a little bit. Straw's doing fine. Food is doing great. Oh my, we're expecting pig... Honey, we're going to need you to name some piglets. Not now, but in a... yeah. But we're going to have some hogs running around. Just want to thank everybody for tuning in to today's Old School. It was definitely a blast to get back into the hay division. So glad I could help Ronald and Wyatt. I'm just a little bit more curious as to what I expect to get from the farmer's market. We ain't checking prices. We ain't checking nothing. Almost $1,000. That is, yeah, $2,700 plus $4,400. Which is at a little over $7,100 in the bank. That is amazing. So if you like the old school series and you want to check out the playlist as it grows, be sure to check that link in the top right hand corner of your screen. Other than that, make sure to keep it light, keep it loose, keep it fresh, and most importantly, keep it fun. We shall see you guys all in the next one. This is the Rental Man out.